It's time for us to get real serious. No funny business. We're gonna be talking about all of the Tensura unit info in this video. We got a lot to go through, and I'm not trying to waste any time, you know what I mean? I'll be on my bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'll be on my bullshit sometimes. But today I gotta switch it up. I gotta squeeze everything into this video with using as little time as possible. People have been asking me about this for a minute, about the Tensura units, and I'm going to be listing them off in the banner that they will be appearing in, so it makes it easier to understand. So without further ado, let's talk about the OGs. This will be coming out the very first part of the crossover. This will be what goes live after maintenance on the 29th. And why not talk about these beautiful three people, which is going to be Milim, Rimuru, and Benimaru. These are the OGs, really good units, and they're getting buffed for this. Why not talk about our favorite attacker, which is Milim. She is a fire attacker. Her slots are 5-star magic, 5-star support, and 4-star physical. Her skill is an 8-second cooldown, 2500 fire damage magic. For 6 seconds, you increase your own attack by 30%. Her art is 13,000% fire damage magic. For 4 seconds, enemies take 250 times the damage they inflict on this unit for 15 seconds, and you increase your own art gauge by 2. Their true art is 44,000% fire damage magic. Increase damage of this true art to enemies and break by 200%. For 15 seconds, you increase your own critical rate by 100% as well. Abilities are whenever this unit takes damage more than 10% of its HP, you increase your art gauge by 5. Increase freeze and paralysis resist by 100%, and attack increases its HP of this unit decreases up to a maximum of 50%. And don't worry, I'll talk about all of these guys at the end. Don't worry if you like, oh my god, OP, how do you feel about them? Hey, chill out. Next is my boy Benimaru, which is one of my favorites from this batch specifically. And this man's a fire demon. He's gonna be rocking the 5-star physical, 5-star magic, and 4-star defense. On his skill, he deals fire damage, and he increases his own art gauge by 10. On his art, you can be expecting this man to increase his own skill CT recovery by 50% and increase his own damage by 30%. And on his true art, which is where all of his kit comes together, he deals a huge 42,000% fire damage magic. Not only this, he has a high chance to inflict burn. Now keep up with me. If enemy was burned by own true art or was already burned when true art was activated, you reduce that enemy's magic resist by 70%. His abilities are also when near death, you increase your art gauge by 2 and increase critical rate by 50%, and you heal your own HP by 100 per second. Really good unit, love this guy. Next is human Rimuru. Now this is the first Rimuru, not to get confused with the other Rimurus that are in this batch. This one specifically I will be referring to as human Rimuru. Human Rimuru is a water demon. His slots are 5-star physical, 5-star support, and 4-star magic. His skill is just a regular fire damage skill, nothing attached to it. His art is going to be refreshing the skill CT of all allies, so instantly just everybody's skill CT gets recovered. He cures all status elements that the allies had except Fate, and he heals allies by 30% of their max HP for 10 seconds, and you increase everybody's status resist by 100% as well. This true art actually has not been updated in my Discord, but this has gotten buffed to I think 32,000% modifier. So you heal your own HP for 3% of the damage you deal, which is going to be even more now since the modifier is high. And then for 15 seconds, you increase all ally stats. It's not by 20% anymore. It's now by 30% on global. And you increase all allies arts by 3 per second, 3700 break. And he is type E Archgen. If you don't know about Archgen, card popping up on screen right now. His abilities are increased fire resistance by 30%, increased arts by 2 per second, and increased status resist except Faint by 30%. And that is all of the original cast of Tensura. Now let's move on to the other two, and like I said at the end, I'm going to talk about everyone in a broad spectrum. The next 3 units going to be seeing coming out is going to be the Xmas units. So let's talk about these guys real quick. We're going to be talking about Santa Milim. Santa Milim is a fire demon. Her slots are 5-star physical, 5-star heal, and 4-star defense. Her skill is a 15-second cooldown. You increase your own arts by 10, and then for 10 seconds you increase your own stats by 10%. Her art is a 23,000% fire damage physical, and then you reduce the enemy's fire resist by 30%. And then her true art is 40,000% fire damage physical. For 10 seconds, you increase allies crit rate by 100% and increase allies arts by 3 per second, 3100 break. And she is type E Archgen. Her abilities are increased critical damage by 40%. When HP is less than 30%, you increase your damage by 20%. And when HP is above 80%, you increase arts and true arts buff duration by 50%. Now next we have a brand new unit, brand new face coming to Grand Summoners, which is Santa Xion. Santa Xion is a dark demon. Demon. Her slots are 5-star physical, 5-star defense, and 4-star support. Skill is a 15-second cooldown, 5000% dark damage physical. Increase BE generation of this skill by 30%. Her art is 17,000% dark damage physical. For 20 seconds, you increase your own skill CT recovery by 100%. And then her true art is a huge 63,000% multiplier. Dark damage physical. For 10 seconds, you increase your own accuracy by 100%. Her abilities are increase freeze resistance by 100%. While near death, you increase damage resist by 10%. And on every use of your true art or normal art, you permanently increase your own attack and damage by 30% up to a maximum of 150. And then last but not least, that's going to be coming out with this batch is our boy Santa Rimuru. Santa Rimuru is going to be another water demon type. Slots are 5-star magic, 5-star support, and 4-star magic. Skill, this is a little bit confusing, but stick with me. On first use, you increase your ally's arts by 1 per second for 7 seconds. On your second use, you increase your ally's attack by 10% for 7 seconds. On your third use, you heal allies' HP by 1% for 7 seconds. And the cycle repeats afterwards. So arts, attack, heal. That's how it goes, and then it resets. Art is a 19,000% water damage magic. You increase all allies' arts by 20. And then for 15 seconds, you increase allies' damage resist against giant bosses by 30%. And then the true art is 36,000% water damage magic. For 20 seconds, you increase all allies damage by 60% and all allies magic damage by 60%. His abilities are increase equipment CT recovery by 10%, increase damage to giant bosses by 50%, and increase water and demon allies damage by 30%. Does not stack with abilities at the same name. And then finally, here we are at the third part of this crossover, which will be the New Year's event. We're going to be having 2 units coming out with this, and why not start with our girl, New Year's Malim. New Year's Malim is going to be a light demon. Her slots are 5-star physical, 5-star magic, and 4-star support. Skill is a 10-second cooldown, 2000% light damage physical. For 7 seconds, you increase your own attack by 10%. Art is going to be 18,000% light damage physical. For 20 seconds, you increase your own accuracy by 20% and own damage by 60%, 1300 break. True Art's going to be a 65,000% light damage physical. For 12 seconds, you reduce the enemy's light resist by 50%. And then the abilities are at the start of the quest for 60 seconds, you increase allies attack by 40%. And also at the start of the quest, you increase allies arts by 50 and you increase magic by 10%. And then finally, the man himself, Dark Rimuru or New Year's Rimuru, is the other unit coming out in the final unit of Tensura that will be releasing. New Year's Rimuru is a dark demon type. Slots are 5-star physical, 5-star support, and 4-star physical. Skill, it's a 10-second cooldown, 1700% dark damage physical. If this skill crits, you increase your own arts by 50. Normal art is 20,000% dark damage physical. For 10 seconds, you increase ally stats by 30%. True art is a 50,000% dark damage physical. For 50 seconds, you increase allies physical damage by 50%, and this is stackable. His abilities are increase critical damage by 50%, increase physical resistance by 10%, and you increase your crit rate by 100% while unaffected by status elements. And that's it. That's all the units coming out. It's a lot, I know. And now since you know what all of them do, let me give you my thoughts on all of them. Now, the original banner of Bidimaru, Human Rimuru, and Milim is still a fantastic banner. All three of these guys are insane. It could definitely help you. To be honest, if you're a new player, this will probably be the one banner that I recommend that you summon on or go after the most. If you're watching this and you're just getting into the game, I highly recommend you go on this banner more so than any of the other ones. As for the second part of the crossover, which will be the Christmas units, so Santa Malim, Xion, and then also Santa Rimuru. Santa Malim has a really cool kit at first. Now, if you look at it, you're like, holy shit, she's an arch general that gives 100% crit rate. That's actually not in the game yet. But after further analysis of it, her slots are terrible for it, unfortunately. 5-star physical, 5-star heal, and 4-star defense really can't help you too much as an arch general. So in order to support the rest of her team, she can't even support herself too much. And I don't like her. I think she's still going to be a good unit, but definitely not. Whenever you compare her to the original three, it's like, yeah, she's kind of on the lower end. Now, Santa Xion is very interesting. She's a stackable damage dealer. Her slots are pretty okay with the 5-star defense. I actually do like that, but I wish it was a 4-star defense and a 5-star support instead. The only problem with Xion, and you can probably already tell it, she doesn't have any art gauge. There is nothing in her kit that gives her art gauge. She has tons of damage, tons of buffs going on, but she has no passive art gauge, and she's very selfish. Unlike other ramping damage dealers that are in the game currently, Yusuke, Decilia, Juno, all All of them are able to give art gauge or give some type of buffs to their team once they're done ramping, and she's not able to do anything. She's just a very selfish ramping damage dealer, very similar to Goblin Slayer. Yes, she will do a ton of damage if you get her all the way there, but at the same time, you're better off using Cilia or Juno for the in-game content instead of Xion. If you get her, she's not a bad pickup whatsoever, but if you already have another really strong ramping damage dealer, you don't really need to go in for this one. And the center Rimuru is insane. I love this guy. Tons of damage buffs, tons of art gauge, really solid slots. I want to say 5-star magic, 5-star support, and 4-star magic. A lot of damage buffs. See, I think personally, if you really love using Juno, you might want to consider picking up this Rimuru because he's going to be increasing Juno's damage not just by 60%, not just by 120%, he's going to be increasing by 150. I think it's going to be a very fun team comp to use like in raids and stuff. One of the best magic damage buffers or just damage buffers in the game, and if that's something that interests you, then you may be wanting to look into Santa Rimuru. And then our New Year's lads and lasses. New Year's Malam is kind of whatever, more so used for a light nuke, especially based off her ability. She's all about, at the start of the quest, you know, you get tons of attack for your team, you increase everybody's art gauge by 50, very centered around nuking with mono light. Unfortunately, if you don't have Saitama though, you can't really do that. So if you get her, I think she's just going to be setting on the back burner until later, until more units come out to where you can nuke pretty reliably on mono light. And if that ever comes out, then she'd probably be one of the best options for it. And then New Year's Rimuru, this guy's busted. He's pretty much Dark Vox. Tons of art gauge that he's going to be giving himself because his skill's on a 10-second cooldown, and if the skill crits, as long as this man is not afflicted by any status elements, it's always going to crit, which is going to give him 50 art gauge, which is such an insane amount for a 10-second cooldown skill. His art is a heal, it's an attack buff, a defense buff, all that type of stuff. Really good stuff, literally just like Vox. And the true art is just you increase all allies damage by 50% and not just critical rate. This guy would literally be Dark Vox if that was the case, but Next Ninja actually went a little bit crazy and gave us a really strong crossover attack, and this guy is going to be insane with any physical damage deal. You pair this guy alongside Sistina, alongside Vox, alongside Swick, any of those guys, this man is going to be hitting hard, and he's going to make all of them hit even harder. And I know somebody in my comment section the other day was like, doesn't Sistina stack more? Are you serious? This is a stackable damage buff that lasts for 50 seconds, meaning that Rimuru is the strongest physical damage buffer in Global currently, and will be essential, I think, for people who are going to be hardcore in raids. If you love raids and you do that shit every single time it comes out, I think this guy is pretty much a must summon. Just like whenever Vox came out back in the day, and if you cared about raids at all, it was a must summon. You needed that man. So this guy's insane, and actually the one unit that I am anticipating the most from this crossover, and the one unit that I hope I get out of everybody. That's my thoughts on the entire crossover. If you ever need help with anything regarding GS or re-rolling or anything for that matter, just want a chill place to hang out in, you always have my Discord link down below in the description. I don't ever promote it because I always forget, but I'm usually in there like majority of days whenever I'm not recording videos and working all the time on YouTube. I'm usually in the Discord, so definitely go check that out if you are interested in getting into GS or just want some cool people to hang out and talk to. But hey man, it's been your boy OP. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more, and last but not least man, you already know, don't forget to drink water.